What up, what up, what up? We are here, All Access Network Podcast. This is a special episode, not just a special guest, but a super special episode. So you see the stars in the background for those that can visually see. Those that are audio listening, there's stars in the background. We have the superstar of superstars here today, Miss Denise Johnson, the owner and founder of Hyphen. Can't wait for you guys to get to know her story. I could go on and on and on with this intro, but I'm going to have to pre-record another intro before we come on, just so we have enough time, because she's that spectacular and phenomenal of a person and of a leader. So anyway, Denise, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited for you to be here. Got to get our special effects going at the bottom, you know. All right, so who is Denise Johnson? Obviously, it says you're founder of Hyphen, but who is Denise Johnson?
Like behind the scenes?
Just who are you? Like, they don't know you. These people don't know you.
Yeah.
And even if they do know you, what do you want them to know who you are? You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. So Denise Johnson, owner and founder of Hyphen, a relocation company based out of Dallas that works specifically with NBA players, NFL players, staff, anybody that is relocating cross country. I'm a mother. I'm a friend, daughter. I'm a lot of things. I'm extroverted. Anybody that knows me knows I'm very outspoken. But I'm definitely an advocate for mental health, and I'm a good time, all around good time. I don't know that I've ever been asked to describe myself, but I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Yes, a good time will definitely fit,
for sure,
without a doubt. So since we're talking about a good time, we're talking about the extrovert. You got to give us at least one funny story so we can kind of set the tone. This is not a formal interview. This is a really get to know the woman behind this amazing company that you built.
I'm trying to think,
any funny story on any topic. It can be family, it can be business, it can be just you personally making fun of yourself one time at band camp. Just kidding. It can be whatever you want it to be.
I'm literally flipping through my mental rolodex trying to think of a situation.
So while I give her time, I say this consistently. She is one of the funniest people that I know on the planet. Now, she
says that, and I'm like, why?
She may not be that version today, but the reason why she's going through her Rolodex is because she has so much.
So many.
Normally, it's quick-witted in the moment, so it's hard to just replicate that.
Well, because I'm going to have to give you guys, condensed PG versions of the chaos that happens in my day-to-day life. But, I have business stories where I've kind of had to roll up my sleeves and not be the boss that I kind of portray myself to be sometimes.
Right.
I've had situations where I've been with clients and I've tried to be just recently, actually, well, not recently, this summer, we were on this yacht with a bunch of clients and we were really excited to be on the boat. And I don't know what I was doing. I guess I was just kind of feeling myself, I don't know what I was thinking I was doing. But anyway, I swung one of the bathroom doors open at the bottom of the yacht and it hit me in the face and it knocked me out. And I thought that if I just got up and went upstairs where everybody was like having this beautiful party, that nobody would notice that I had been knocked out previously. And I was probably suffering from a concussion. It was like a whole situation. So I was walking around trying to engage with people and there was like blood streaming down my face. I had no clue. And I'm just like, yeah. So anyway, Hyphen is definitely doing numbers and I'm just like leaking from my face. But no, I have millions of stories where I'm just like trying to keep my composure, but I just, life happens fast.
So as you're talking about Hyphen, you were selling it with blood running down your face. Tell us, what is Hyphen? Because a lot of people don't know. You said relocation based out of Dallas. Talk a little bit about what is Hyphen.
Yeah, so we're based out of Dallas, but we're nationwide. So anytime that someone's getting traded, drafted, released, commuting back and forth for OTAs or training camp, they call us. So that means that we take care of their real estate, whether they're buying, selling, leasing, or they need a short-term furnished rental. Sometimes guys don't get long contracts. We're there to assist them with that. We also do their car shipping. We ship their cars to and from the stadium or to and from their homes. And then we also do the packing and shipping of all of their belongings. So we're just kind of like a one-stop shop concierge service. And so at times, I find myself finding them chefs and finding them tailors and find just anything that is going to make their lives easier. And it's not just my players. Like I often have like NBA coaches that they move around sometimes just as much as the players do. And they'll give us a call and say, hey, listen, I need a new apartment or I need a new house and I need you to ship my things. I got to be there before this time. And so we make sure that we can accommodate everybody that is across the league, whether it's family members, staff, or players. So that's kind of Hyphen in a nutshell.
Now, we were fortunate with my wife and I's company, Uprise, where we had this event, Rising Coaches Classic, our first tournament, and you were, and Hyphen was awesome enough to be a partner and sponsor. And so talk about how you would be able to serve. You did an awesome job giving this great box of gifts of personalized card and some paraphernalia, what have you, I should say. So talk about how you would still be able to serve people that may not be at the pro level that are still relocating. Do they fit into the umbrella? Can college coaches or high school coaches or
all coaches?
Yeah,
I want to be able
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I definitely want to be able to cast like a broad net and be able to help anybody that's in need of relocation assistance. Often what you'll see is like, let's say a college coach, because they move around a lot too.
Yes,
you'll see that they'll get uprooted and they immediately have to go into learning a new program. They're not thinking about who's going to ship their car, who's going to come and pack up all of their belongings, who's going to help them find a house. And if they are, that's actually adding to their stress, right? Which is a damper on their mental health. And so that's kind of where we come in, because I'm definitely an advocate for mental health, to try to alleviate all of that for whether it's college, pros, whatever it is. I definitely want them to reach out to us so that we can help facilitate everything and just make it easy and seamless.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's dope. Talk about you mentioned mental health. I'm gonna come back to Hyphen, but you've mentioned mental health twice now. So I want to push pause. And what is it about mental health advocacy that makes you obviously it's a really important topic, but it feels like it's a little more near and dear and intentional for you. Why is that?
Absolutely. I think that I've had family members that have dealt with mental health in some form. Some very extreme, some not as extreme, but either way, I see that mental health is like on the forefront of everything. So if you aren't right here, you can't do anything. Everything else is going to lack. And so I've been fortunate enough and unfortunate enough to have like a front row seat to see staff members, family members, players suffer from, PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorders, anxiety, depression, just dealing with their careers, right? I can even speak for myself that I'm sure that I have had to navigate, treacherous waters of like, the highs and lows of entrepreneurship or of being a mother, and then just kind of just trying to keep your head above water, which is what everybody's trying to do. So I think that the reason I'm so passionate about what it is that I do is because I'm hoping to help so that that's one less thing that they have to worry about, because I'm sure that they still have personal issues that they're dealing with, career, and so that's kind of where we come in to just help. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. It fits you. Obviously, I know you well, you're family to me. So it fits. For those that don't know you, how did this Hyphen come about? Like, how do you all of a sudden get into relocation? How do you get into being tied with sports? Is there a sports background you're connected to? Like, for me, knowing you, two worlds that you were involved in, that you were passionate about and excelled at, merged and became one. And so you're just doing what you do. But for those that don't know you, how did these things come about for you?
I think, and I say this often because people are like, how did you get into this? This is such like a niche type of business, right? I've done everything. You've known me 15 plus years. I've been a teacher. I've worked corporate America. I've done retail. I've done fast food. I've worked at a nursing home. I've had pretty much every job you can possibly have. And I then stumbled into real estate. I was into real estate for a few years, and I had a few relocations early in the game before I started my own company, and I was like, I have a knack, like I have a gift when it comes to dealing in this realm. People were very receptive to me. I don't know if it's because of the way that I am. You know me personally, but I'm a very around the way girl. Like I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't matter who I'm dealing with, that I build a camaraderie with them and that I make them feel like family. And that I provide a service where they feel like I'm just taking care of them because they're my brother or my sister or like an auntie or an uncle. And so I think that once I started developing these like relationships, it was like a no-brainer for me that I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to see if I can start my own business and see who will use me. And I've been fortunate to, you know, recently I had the Arizona Cardinals had called another team and told them about me. And it was like a domino effect. It was a very beautiful thing for me to witness as an entrepreneur who was doing cold calls, you know, a few years ago, to getting calls and them saying, hey, they told us to call you. You're the go-to, you know? So it's been a beautiful transition to see me, you know, at a fast food restaurant and then, you know, in a classroom and then now doing this. So I just feel like it was ordained. It was written in the stars and
No
God
doubt.
had a plan for me. So I'm definitely thankful for that.
No doubt. Yeah, I think for me, knowing you and just seeing you in this space is such a natural, but like you said, it's a niche or niche if you're French or whatever that may be.
I didn't
Yeah,
know which way to go with that. So I was like, is it niche or niche?
it's all right. I like both. I like both. You're showing your classy side. I'm showing my other side. But it's such a specific place and field, and to be able to build a business around it. It's one thing to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna refer somebody, or yeah, I can help you, but you've built an entire business around it where, like you said, you go from making cold calls to then coach school, not even schools, excuse me. I'm thinking college.
Yeah.
Organizations, pro organizations are reaching out.
Oh,
And
for
so
sure.
you've represented people who have been in NBA championships.
Yeah.
You've represented players on all sides. So what is that part like to build an actual business around this whole thing as an entrepreneur? What is that part of the journey like for you to create something and say, I want to go and be an entrepreneur. I'm not working for this relocation company or this realtor company. Talk about that journey for you.
It's been
That's
it's
a
been
good
a,
one. When you make that reaction, that's like, man,
I'm
that's
like, "Oh,
how much time you got, boo?
how much time do you have?" It's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure, and I'm thankful for it. It's been, like I told you, it's been beautiful to see the transition of like the teams kind of like trusting me and saying, well, she killed it. She took care of, you know, this guy and this guy and this guy and trades and, you know, free agency. And she's just like the thing I think that sets me apart from anyone else outside of being minority owned, woman owned business and operated is that I am making it happen quickly and efficiently. Other companies will come and pick your stuff up, but then they're also going to try to pick up a bunch of things along the way. And then they're not going to do a drop off for 3, 4, 5 weeks. You hire Hyphen, we're going to come pick your stuff up that day. And whatever the drive is from point A to point B, we're going to come drop it off in 4 days. Like, and we're ready to unpack and get the job done. And so I think with working like that, I've had the privilege of having, like I said, all of these teams that are just kind of like, hey, I don't know why this didn't exist before. Like, we need to hire this girl. She's taking care of it, you know? So that's, I think that's been the best part of business for me is the point A to point B. That's the only thing I think that sets me apart, and my tenacity and like not wanting to give up, because I'm like, I have to be the best of the best of the best. I have to be the superstar Brian says I am. So
No. I don't think it's because of that, but I am. You've always been it, so I just speak what I see. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, it's in the back of my mind. Like, he
good.
says I'm
That's
a
good.
superstar, so I have to wake up every day and make sure that I am. So
That's good. I appreciate it. And we got the stars in the background to represent for you.
yeah.
Let's talk about the hat. People don't necessarily know. This is the logo for Hyphen. Websites at the bottom. So you mentioned a few things in there that kind of go in your journey. I'm curious about, so for example, high standard of excellence, a tenacity, but there's a servant leadership. There's a care for details that makes you separate from other companies and build trust and credibility. How hard has that been? And I guess what would you want people to know about your brand, Hyphen, that haven't experienced it firsthand? What would you want them to know about your brand and what they're getting with Hyphen?
Hyphen is my baby. Like, it's my baby. I care deeply about everything that Hyphen touches, clients, employees, basically anything. I think attention to detail is something that I'm really big on. I'm meticulous. I'm OCD. I am a micromanager. Anybody that works for me is like banging their heads against the tables. They love me, but then at the same time, I'm like, did you remember to send that gift to so-and-so? Like, I'm making sure that I remember clients' birthdays, their mama's birthdays, their baby's birthdays. Like, I want to go above and beyond and make sure that you feel that this is not just a business relationship, but that we are creating a long-lasting relationship and that you will always be able to call us no matter what. And I think that that's what sets us apart from everybody else, because I don't just go into anything blindly to say, well, I did it. You know, the same way you don't date just to date. You date to marry. And so I do business to marry all of my clients, every single one of them. And I just want to make sure that they feel safe, because that's the type of environment that I'm trying to create for them. So,
yeah, I think not only safe, but to take it even a step further, you want to alleviate and provide this peace, right? You want to have a peace of mind, a peace of heart, not only for the current move, but there's a resonating piece that kind of stays around and says, like, you know what? I don't know what to do with this. Let's call Denise. I don't know what to do with this. Let's call Hyphen.
Yeah, you don't even know. They call me sometimes like, Denise, I had a client the other day, and he's going to get Rookie of the Year, 100% for the NFL. He called me the other day and he was like, my AC is just not working right now. And I was like, okay. And did you call the AC company? He was like, no, I didn't. My first call was to call you. I mean, I said, okay, well, let's go trip the breakers. Let's start there. And then and so I'm like walking him through all these things, and he's not the only one. I have several clients that will call me for anything from housekeeping to pool to maintenance to, I don't know what to do with my contract. What do you think? Do you think I should sign an extension or should I go to another team? At this point, I'm like, like I said, I think it's because I create this camaraderie, right? This fellowship with every single person that I interact with. And I think it stems from, and not that this is a therapy session, but I think it stems from whatever voids I might have had in the past, right? Where you feel like maybe someone didn't listen to you. You didn't feel understood. You didn't feel safe. You didn't feel all of these things. I overexert myself to make sure that anybody that comes in contact with me feels that from me. And so I think that, like, that's my driving force. That's my purpose. Like, when my feet hit the ground, I'm like, Lord, guide my steps and make sure that everybody that I come in contact with feels like they are a better person after an interaction with me.
No doubt. Yeah, you are an elevator. You are a enhancer. Definitely a servant leader. You're like the explanation point that goes, like, something's a normal way without it, but Denise is like the double explanation point emoji in red. So it's a great way to describe it. So let's pause on Hyphen. We'll come back.
Okay.
Let's talk about you. So you talked about a lot of things, a lot of hats, a lot of passion. You talked about who you are in the beginning. So this is kind of a little bit of a lightning round. So we'll say a word, and you have a minute to two. You really have as much as you want, but we're going to try to get it in a minute or two. What comes to mind when you hear these words? So we'll start with the most important, which you excel at. If you're excelling with these other people, you excel beyond measure in this category, and that's motherhood. So what comes to mind when you hear that?
Do I excel?
Yes, you do. Fact.
Okay. Motherhood, I would say, there's no blueprint for it. There's no blueprint. What your parents did, what their parents did, what the blogs say to do, there's absolutely no blueprint. Every child is different. every child requires something more from you. And I honestly think that children come down here and pick their parents, right? So they come down here to pick whatever it is that you need to work on. So if you need to work on patience, they're coming to help you improve on your patience or your compassion or your empathy, right? And so I think that our children are the best composition of all of the things that we need in our lives to become our best selves. And I think that I don't even know who I was actually before I was a mother. And I think that now that I am a mother, I love who I'm becoming. And I hope that one day he like looks at me and he's like proud that I was his mom, like without crying right now. Cause I'm like, I really love my kid. He's my world for sure. And I hope that I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, I would say right now he's already looked at you like that. You just didn't know that's what he meant with that look. Now he gives you some other looks too. I know that. I've seen that.
I'm saying if I had to, if we believe in reincarnation or whatever, I would not mind coming back and being him. That's not a bad life.
He has a good life.
He has a good life, but
he has a good life. He has a good life. So next word, family. Obviously you talked about motherhood, but family. What is that word? What comes to mind when you hear that?
I think family is like one of the most important components of our life. I think that family is much more than the blood that runs through our veins. I have found family in you. I have found family in some of my friends that have just been around for 15, 20 years that I'm just like, if I was on a game show and they're like, you have to make this phone call and this person has to pick up the phone or you're going to die. I got some family that isn't family that's going to answer the phone. And so I'm just thankful for like all of the people that God has placed in my life. Cause they've been placed there like in the most perfect times, right? Right when I needed them. There has been no mistakes in that. And so I think family is what kind of keeps you going. Like what else is there?
Amen. Amen. Let the church say amen. Let's go. Speaking of church, I'm going to the next one. So faith. Okay. How does faith incorporate? What does that mean when you hear that word to you personally?
Well, let's start with faith without works is dead, right? It took me a long time during my spiritual journey to understand what faith without works is dead meant. I thought that waking up in the morning, praying at night, was enough to sustain what it was that I wanted. Like it was like a genie. Like I was going to rub his stomach and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. And you need to do this, right? Without putting forth any actual hard work or effort. And so now I realize as an adult that you got to work for it, you know? I'm sure that it's written and it's ordained, but it's not just going to happen by happenstance. And so I think that I have to believe it, speak it, and then I'll see it come to pass. But definitely pray about it, and the rest is history. As long as you're willing to put forth the work, because I think oftentimes we're just like, God, I want you to make sure I can get these contracts, or I want you to find this soulmate for me. And I want you to, and it's like, you want me to find this soulmate, but you haven't left your house in 6 months. He's not going to break into your house. You got to get out there. So, and the same thing with the contracts. Like you want 5 new contracts, but you're not knocking on doors. You're not making cold calls. You're not, showing up at the buildings and pitching. So work on your pitch and pray and work.
Amen. I love it. Fun. What comes to mind for Denise when you hear fun?
Find the balance for fun. Find the balance. I think that one's pretty simple. I think that oftentimes we get caught up in the work, the routine of our lives, right? I don't know if it was the Dalai Lama. They asked him, like, what was the most interesting part about life? And he was just like, I think it's funny that, we work all of our lives to make all of this money. And then by the time that we get older, we don't enjoy our lives. And then we lose our health. And then we use that money to try to recuperate our health. But before you know it, like you're gone. And so we have such a short stint here, really short. It doesn't seem like it, but I mean, I feel like I blinked and I turned 33 and I was just like 17 yesterday. And so I think that it's imperative that we find the balance for fun, being present in the moment and being intentional about it. It's not, I'm going to go on vacation and grab my cell phone and try to record every bit of my vacation. I want to be present in the actual moment, ground myself, have my feet in the sand, and like look at everything that God created and the people that I'm surrounded by versus just working myself down to the bone. And I'm saying this out loud because I probably need to do it coming up next year. So if you guys see me on vacation, you know why.
I love it. So I was gonna just do like 5, but I actually added 5 more. So we're gonna keep going. So we're only at 4. This is 5. So if you had to pick a song as you're coming into the ring, or you're a batter going up to bat, and you had to pick a song that you're walking out to, what would that song be? Or is it a combination of they're gonna play half of this song and half of this song?
Okay, so me as a person, I'm not just one thing, right? So you can't really put me in a box. I'm outside the box. I'm extroverted, but then I have my moments where I'm like, leave me alone. I'm super introverted. I need to be at home by myself to recharge my batteries. Right. So I feel like I have one soundtrack is probably Survivor from not
Destiny's Child.
Oh yeah, it could be Destiny's Child. Yeah, I'm a survivor. Yeah, whatever. So I'm a survivor, but like not the whole thing. And then maybe like half of Ari Lennox has this song called Self-Love. And she's just like, self-love is the best love. She just keeps saying self-love is the best love. But then part of it, she kind of seems a little like melodramatic where she's like, but your love was the worst love. This is not to anybody else. I just like the melody of her saying self-love is the best love, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. I think I'm in a space of rediscovering me, because I think even becoming a mother, you kind of lose yourself a bit. I don't think that people really understand the severity of what happens to a woman when she has a child. Like your actual organs got pushed to the side to hold a child in the center. And then they're like, but don't forget to go to work, and don't forget to pick up the dry cleaning, wash the dishes, fold the laundry.
You literally grow another human being.
Another person. You are here because somebody grew you. You know?
It's an amazing thing. Sometimes my wife, she'll see our daughters and just be like, she was inside of me, like literally.
I have the same.
Where she came from.
Yes. No, she's right on point with that, because I literally looked at my son the other day and I was like, ain't no way. I couldn't even fathom the fact that I had a whole child. And then he's like walking around and like doing things like, you just stood up to pee? That's crazy. We were just sharing the same heartbeat. That's wild.
I love it.
So yeah.
2 good songs. I like it. Two great. More words. Entrepreneur. What comes to mind when you hear that word?
Hold on. You know what song comes to mind?
There's this line. I gotta interrupt real quick. There's this line that Samuel L. Jackson says. I want to say it's in Jurassic Park, where all of a sudden he's just like, hold on to your butts. That's the line.
No, seriously. I might not have been able to come up with a soundtrack for my own personal life, but I think that for Entrepreneur, I probably would do Tamala Mann, Take Me to the King. He's like, lay me at the throne. Right. Leave me there alone to gaze upon his glory. Because I think entrepreneurship is in one of those things where you get into it and you're so excited. You're like, I filed for my EIN. I'm official.
Right.
And then like, that's crazy. I have no money. Okay. And
we'll have all these things I have to do.
Yeah. I'm like, I literally could, I'm like, I have so many bills. I have so many things to do. There's so many different hats that you have to wear. You're like, I'm balancing my books. I'm my own CPA. I'm having to do payroll. I'm actually have to doing my social media. I'm pushing cars into containers. I actually do the moves myself. I'm packing and shipping for people. I'm doing personalized gifts. I'm calling saying, happy birthday. How's your grandma? She passed. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then you still have to come home, take a shower, wash that all off, and then be like, okay, now I'm a mom. We're going to trace letters. And then we also have to cook dinner, do a bath, and then bed and read stories. And so it's like, it's a lot, right? So I would say, hold on, take me to the king, and ride the roller coaster. There's going to be some really, really dope highs that I can tell you about. There's going to be some really, really low lows that I can definitely share with you.
Right. And don't get off the roller coaster. That probably is.
No. Getting off the roller coaster.
Unless you know, you find out as you're on it, like you're not a roller coaster person.
Yeah. If you're vomiting and you're motion sick and you're just like, I'm not built for this, that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
You know?
Yeah, right now, entrepreneurship seems like this cool thing that you should just go do. And it's like, oh, you got all this. And it's almost like, there's almost a price you have to pay in order to really understand it and really know that it's what you want to do.
For sure.
And if you try it just because it's cool, you'll probably have to learn the hard way. Like, it ain't about the cool, because if you're doing it because it's cool and there's not a real purpose and a drive and a fit, it ain't gonna work.
No. They say 3 years is if you can make it past the first 3 years, you might be built for it.
You might be all right. You might be able to make it. So women in power, that's a phrase more than it's a word. Women in power. Obviously, I have a very powerful leader in my household. That's a woman who's an entrepreneur and a head coach and a boss. I don't
know. Women in power, I think, is something that is something that I aspire to be. I think some people think that I am. I don't really see myself in that light just yet. I don't know what pinnacle of success I'm trying to reach to where I will then see myself as that. I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of different things. But I feel like there's just so much more ahead of me. I think that women in power, they have such a responsibility on their shoulders to like never make mistakes. And maybe that's why I feel like I'm not necessarily there yet. I feel like your wife, she's achieved so much. She has all of these accolades and she's super dope and she's got kids and a husband and she's just juggling it all and making it all look so easy. Maybe I need to call her to see if she ever has like mental breakdowns, but women in power is something that like I aspire to be, I look up to, I respect, I empathize with. And I hope that one day people can look at me and say, she's doing it.
Yeah, I love that. It actually leads to the next thing I have for you, which is people that you've looked up to. What kind of comes to mind when you hear that? Whether it's inside family, outside of families, people wouldn't even expect. Who are some of the people that you've kind of taken a piece or two from that really has been significant for where you are now?
I have I was raised in Mexico. A lot of people don't know that. So my first language is Spanish. I read, write, and speak Spanish. My dad is Mexican. And so when being raised in Mexico, there was an aunt there that had a degree, I want to say in kinesiology or something along the lines of like doing like physical therapy. And she would take me with her to work. And I'm talking about all day, like all day long. And she would go to the hospital and then work at the hospital. Then from the hospital, she would go do these house calls where she was doing physical therapy on like the elderly, or if they had been in a car accident, she would do that as well. Then she would go home. She would like shower and change clothes from the scrubs that she was in. And she would put on these like blazers with these skirts. And then we would go to this news station and she was the news anchor. And so I would sit in the back and I would watch her read the teleprompter and I'd be there with her for the hour that she had her segment. Then we would go home. She would eat dinner, after the show, she would eat dinner, change again, take me with her. And then she would go to the radio station and she was doing late night radio, like one of those people that's like, hey, this is the Quiet Storm. Thanks for listening tonight. And then playing like Luther Vandross and Brian McKnight in Mexico, the Mexican version. And then come home, and she's not done yet. Come home after doing late night radio and change and go have a social life. So I grew up watching her and I would be like in awe thinking, how is she doing it? How is she juggling it all? She's so fashionable. She has so much charisma. She's so well spoken, so poised, right? That's a woman in power. That's a boss. That's somebody that I aspire to be. I would even, I would get this box and I would cut out like the inside of the box, and I would put the box over my head, and then I would go to the sink and I would wet my fingertips and put them in my tear ducts, and then I would walk outside with this box, and I would have my family sit outside, and then I'd bring my head down and I'd be like, it's just that he died. And I would try to be an actress and and I would try to do all of these things that I was like, my aunt is everything. She's like an actress. She's a this, she's a that. Like I think she really ignited a fire in me internally to command any room that I walk into. Any room that I walk into, I'm not intimidated if I'm in there with Barack Obama or whoever, or if I'm with the janitor. I have the same respect for everybody, no matter what, hierarchy you have. And I think that she also instilled in me that I can be anything and do anything. So I think and her name is Raquel Salinas. So she's the bomb.com. She still lives in Mexico, but fingers crossed she can move to Dallas one day soon.
We got to work on that. One quick second. All right. So as you said that, it made me think about what you said. This is just my own side note. This is not even a question, but the commanding of a room is such a great way to include the description of you.
Yeah.
Because any room you're in, I think you said it best. It doesn't matter if you're the president, the CEO, supposed to be an NBA All-Star or NFL Pro Bowler. And that's part of why you fit, is because not only do you command that room and you belong, and that's part of the superstar in you, but you also know how to be able to tone it up or turn it up or tone it down. And that's a really hard feel to be able to have. And all the hats you talked about that you've worn and that you do wear, it makes sense now hearing someone that you modeled after. I've never heard that story, so it makes a lot of sense because I've always seen Denise, and again, we've known each other for 15 years at least, and have seen each other go through all kinds of highs, lows, in-betweens. And I've always just wondered, like, where is she from? Like, what planet does she come from?
A lot of people say I'm an alien, and I'm just like, you know what it is? It's that I'm functioning in a space, and I have been functioning in a high, like the pace has always been like this, right? I have a friend named Mark who often says, well, if Denise can't figure it out, no one can. And I'm just like, that's not true. He's like, no, it is. It's that you're always going to find a way. You always find solutions, and you're always like, I'm juggling a million things at once, and somehow like my fight or flight response is like turned off. I'm just in cruise control at all times. It's bizarre.
It is. I can't wait for you to meet my oldest, because there are moments where I'm like, I don't know anyone else like you except Denise.
I know you told
and you're 4. So like, how does this happen? So yeah, we definitely got to link that up.
Gotta cultivate it.
Gotta grow that. Gotta cultivate it. Gotta nurture it. Couple more on the words. So we'll speed it up a little bit. We'll go 1 minute for this last finishing lightning round.
Okay.
So this is a little more fun style of it. The last 4. So trading deadline. What's 1 minute you got when you hear that word? Hear that phrase?
A trading deadline?
Yes.
Coffee. Coffee.
It's almost like exam week. If you're a student, it feels like that probably.
It's chaos. It's chaos. It's coffee. It's a Celsius. That's 3 C's. Everything that a Celsius, which has caffeine, coffee, and chaos has caffeine in it too.
Does trading deadline and off-season resonate the same way for you?
Off-season, not so much, believe it or not. Off-season, I feel a little bit more relaxed.
There's a pace, there's a rhythm.
Yeah, when it's off-season, I feel like I'm helping these guys transition into, they're about to vacation for a little bit, then they're going to train, but it's not like when they call me and they're like, Denise, I have to report for training camp this day. If my car is not here, I'm going to die. I'm like, I don't think you're going to die, but we'll get it there, right? And so I think reporting for training camp, reporting for OTAs, trade deadlines, free agency, all of those are a little bit more like high stress level. Anybody that works for me knows it's not going to be a lot of sleep, and it's going to be 24/7, right? Because It's not like people are only getting traded Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right?
No.
Like your phone, your phone is going off like this. The ESPN alerts are going off over and over and over again. And you're just like, and by the time that the ESPN alerts are going off, we already know, right? We've already spoken to the teams. This is late news. So for me,
it's not breaking. It's not breaking.
It's not breaking news for anybody but the general public.
Right.
Now, if something is happening and I see it, oftentimes I can still hop on it and then call their agent, call the team, and let them know in case somebody slipped through the cracks. But more times than most, they can just call.
Right. Good stuff. I love it. These two you'll really like, and then I'll end with another fun one. Dancing. What do you think when you hear that? For those that can't see, there was a big smile that lit up your face.
I love to dance. I really do. I love to dance. I think it's a wonderful form of expression. I danced a lot in Mexico, so I'm like anything from bachata, merengue, salsa to, I'm dancing to Frankie Beverly and Maze, and I'm doing a two-step. Like I like to feel. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that I'm a Pisces. I'm a very emotional person. I am driven by my emotions, except for in business. Like I have like a whole different process for things. Like I never jump stupid because I'm emotional, but in everything else, I like to feel. I like to feel the music. I like to work out, and I like to feel the music when I'm working out, or if I'm out with my girls, I like to dance. Dancing. I mean, my son. Like, you should see him. They're like, well, he's got a lot of rhythm. I'm like, I'm his mom. Of course.
What do you expect?
I'm like, he's doing neck rolls and, I'm like, listen.
So if they see you on IG, dancing, that's just you.
That's just
yourself. That's just living life, right?
In my element. And I will say that for a bit, as an entrepreneur and business owner, founder of Hyphen, that at first, I really wanted to be this like stiff, buttoned up.
We all feel like we have to. We all feel
you almost feel like, per my last email, I'm not that girl. I'm not. I think I emailed someone today and I was like, hey guys, ain't gonna be able to make it. And I think even in this, where I was like, before we even started recording, I was like, this is me.
Right.
99% of the time, I'm in workout clothes. I meet my clients in workout clothes, unless it's like business meetings where we're doing a closing or something like that. But for the most part, I'm going to be lax. I'm going to be myself. I don't want to embark on the path of having a career where I have to be something I'm not. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that, again, to everything else we've talked about, I think that that's what makes people comfortable. I'm dealing with athletes. They're in workout clothes all the time.
Right.
So me coming in with this stuffy, pretentious personality, it doesn't go. It doesn't mesh. It actually makes them apprehensive and doesn't make them want to open up to me. So I'm just like, half the time
it makes you feel like everyone else that they deal with in their worlds
100%.
Instead of being a separator where it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, she works out, she hoops, she plays volleyball, she does this, she does that, and so I think it also helps that I'm somewhat, for some of these guys, I'm like a peer. I'm 33, so I'm not really that far off. I'm not too far from my 20s, not too far from my 40s, but I'm
Boston. What do you want to do?
You know what I'm saying? I'm here for it. I'm here for
it. You mentioned volleyball and basketball, which I don't know if I've heard you say basketball before, but I like that we're talking this.
Okay.
So I'm going to mention now the athlete in Denise, not the workout, the athlete, because there's a difference. Working out is
there is a huge difference.
Tell the background of the athlete of Denise. What athlete is in there? What's she about?
Well, okay, so I'm 23 now, so I don't know, and I would have to run this by some athletes. I can run it by you as well. There's a huge difference between being athletic and being an athlete, right?
Okay.
I think right now I might be athletic. Okay. But I'm good at tennis, volleyball. I ran track in school. I always make a joke. I just told one of my clients, he was like, man, if I wasn't playing football, I would definitely be playing basketball. And I looked at it and I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, did you play basketball? I was like, yeah, but I don't really like to talk about it. He's like, why? I was like, because I was just so tall and lanky. They'd be like, you a 4 or 5. You get down there and just pass. Don't do nothing but rebound and pass. I'd be like, man, I can't even.
I can't even dribble.
So I was like, basketball is one of the sports that I don't really talk about, but I enjoy sports. I'm a great bowler. I'm great at darts. I'm actually very, very competitive. In anything that I do, I want to be the best at it. So I usually put my money where my mouth is, and usually win. I've gone bowling with one of my clients not too long ago, and he came in with his like roller bag and his brand new, and I was like, I'm a pretty good bowler, and he was like, all right, so let's go. And I was like, all right, and I won the first game, and he looked at me like, really? I was like, dude, I can bowl like 212. Like, don't play with me. The best score is yeah, I'm pretty good. And so yeah, I think I'm well-rounded. I try to dabble in anything that is going to create a connection with someone else. Like if I didn't work as much as I did, I would start playing Call of Duty right now because everyone's playing Call of Duty. And could you imagine if I knew how to play Call of Duty? Oh man,
you'd be with the headset on, playing online, talking trash.
Yeah. I'm like, no. He's in the train. Kill him now. Like, could you imagine?
Oh, I love it. That was too good. All right, last one for the lightning round. We'll close with a little more about you, even more depth. But who are you looking at now? Not necessarily to be like, but that's just somebody in a space that you're like, you know what? Like, I respect. Not only do I respect this, but I want to keep watching more so I can I vibe with this person. I mean, male, female, whatever. Is there a person now that you're in this space? Because we all kind of study our craft. We're in a certain craft. We have people we look at for that particular craft. So now you're in this motherhood, entrepreneurship, wear a million hats. Is there a person that you kind of look at?
Yeah. And this person is not even going to be in sports. But recently, and I know a lot of people might disagree with this because they're kind of annoyed by the fact that he might be oversharing, but I am really, really taken back by Will Smith right now, right? I think that he has won so many awards, has so many accolades. He has had this relationship on a pedestal his entire life. And so I think this past year, watching him not be himself, go on this journey of self-discovery, losing weight, also writing a memoir, being completely transparent about everything that he endured as a child, talking about his traumas, talking about his baggage, talking about how imperfect his relationship has been, but that's what actually makes it perfect. The same thing with being a parent and juggling his career, and also talking about all of the mental struggles that he's had along this journey has been like, it's been so overwhelming for me to watch, but it's something that resonates with me. I think that everything that he's doing right now and being his true authentic self is something that I aspire to do, right? I don't know that there is, I'm going to be satisfied when I get to Forbes or when I get to, Fortune 500, or when my company goes public, or, when my son gets drafted and he thanks me for being an awesome mom. Like I'm not married to any specific idea anymore. I used to have this idea that whenever I get to X, then I'll be happy. When I get to Y, I'll be happy. And now I'm just sitting in like a more present moment. And I think that sitting in my gratitude, sitting in the present moment, and like kind of seeing how Will Smith is like living his life now is something that I look up to, and I aspire to kind of walk in that direction, because you can't take anything with you when you die. And so the best thing that you can do is try to leave the world a better place, the people around you in a better space, and like leave a long lasting legacy. And so I think that that's what I'm aspiring to do, similar to Will Smith.
Amen. That was really good. Not that I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not surprised that it was good. I wasn't expecting that person at all. Okay. But everything you said resonated, because I think the part Will Smith is in too, in context, right? I think a lot of this started when the whole thing with Jada happened on Red Table Talk, right?
Yeah.
So for those that don't have the context, quick insight, Will Smith decided to share with his wife, Jada, who kind of was in a time period where they were in the tabloids a lot and uncle getting a divorce. And basically what he did was they controlled their own narrative, which that part of the narrative was not probably how people wanted to take it, or Black Twitter took it to a whole nother place.
Right.
So they basically talked about her infidelity on this Red Table Talk conversation, and had a conversation about it at that time live for the whole world to see, right? Yeah. So you're basically opening up, which no one really would ever most of the time do, but they chose to do it, and it was powerful for a lot of people who understood what they were doing. For those that were just being entertained, or it was over their head, they just made fun of. And so from that point, it feels like he's almost taken that as an opportunity to say, I really don't care what people think anyway. That's why we did it. That's why we had this conversation, to have a real moment where no one gets to see behind the curtain. And they're still married. I think it's also one of those things where it should hopefully fuel some people and give them hope. Like,
well, they're weathering the storm.
You can make it through that together. And now he's in this place of just complete ownership of whatever he wants to do, however he wants to do it, telling his story, writing his story, doing it his own way. And I think it's an amazing, beautiful, authentic thing to see. So I love that you said that, because I think that is part of the journey, is when you can get to a place where you don't care. So for my world, that's been recent for me in a lot of ways. And I think my wife and I both, being in college coaching, similar to what you talk about, you have so many narratives that you have to try to make sure you're on point for, and you're recruiting right, and you're winning, and you're polished, and you can go to these events, but you can't go out at night because then people think you're drinking, and you can't date because then people don't know if you're going to. So all these different things, and you're always worried about these narratives. So to break away from that, and then like break those chains mentally, and start understanding that you can actually spread your wings more. So I didn't mean to go all the way over there, but it makes sense.
No. I think anybody that's looking for any type of direction, I think that even the Will Smith, he's got a YouTube series, Best Shape of My Life, and then he also has a book called Will, where he tells a very, like, throughout the entire book, he's telling a story of his life, but there's this I don't even want to call it silver lining, but he tells a story where his dad has them like laying bricks. Right. And he's like, you guys have to build this huge wall. And he's like overwhelmed. And he's like, we're never going to finish this dumb wall. And his dad is like, listen, and being a military father, listen, focus on one brick at a time. And I think it's so simple. It's something that we all know. Put one foot in front of the other. But I think like having that in the forefront of your mind, like, okay, I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff that's around this laptop that I have to do today. But I just need to lay one brick at a time, and it'll be fine. So I think if I had to look up to anybody right now, it would be Will Smith, and just how authentic and transparent he's being. I love it.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, a couple more. We're closing out. Probably three more. What's one started from the bottom, now we hear moment? We got to give shout out to Drake. We all love the song. We all felt like when that song came on, like, man, that's talking about me. That's talking about
everybody felt it. We all felt it to our core for sure. I think started from the bottom.
And we probably all have multiple moments, but just what's one of those moments where you're like, man.
I will say there was a time in my career where I was going to like door to door, and they say not to solicit, and I was like, what does that mean? So I'm leaving, like I went and printed out, like, these are Hyphen cards, and I'm going to put them in everybody's mailbox. I'm the mailman. Okay. You guys are going to get this mail whether y'all want it or not. I don't care if it doesn't have your address on it. You need to use Hyphen. I don't care if it's an apartment complex, a residential neighborhood, a corporate company, you're getting it. And so it's funny because the summers were hot and I was doing that. So that started from the bottom for sure. A lot of cold calls, a lot of, I had one person hit me with, can I unsubscribe? And I was like, no, I will call you tomorrow. And then I think just recently, actually, we won't talk numbers, but we'll say that, a few teams called other teams and other teams called other teams. And it was just a beautiful moment for me to see, like, like Orlando Magic was like, well, we got your phone number from the Wizards. And the Wizards was like, well, hell, I got her number from AZ. And, and so it's beautiful. I think it's also beautiful for me to like watch TV and people are like, who are you rooting for? And I'm like, nobody in general, just my clients. Cause sometimes I'll have clients on both teams. Right. And so for me, I'm just like, I just hope and pray that everybody's in a good mental space and that they can stay physically healthy. But it's dope to just see the numbers go up in clients and the referrals, like, hey, I got your phone number.
It makes me think of Ted Lasso for some reason, of like seeing Ted Lasso like refer all of his players like, well, you guys just need to go see Denise. I don't know if you've watched Ted Lasso yet, but if you haven't,
no, I haven't. I need to.
Oh, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
Every time I'm like, hey, I'm gonna watch TV, I'll literally grab the remote and I'm like, rest, my child. Because I'm so tired. No doubt. I'm gonna make time though.
I'm getting better at watching them. I'm actually getting better. I never, like, in basketball world, I never did. And part of it's figuring out a time to bond with my wife now too, but just making the time. Sometimes I'm multitasking. I'm on a laptop while we're doing it, but it's on. And I find myself paying more attention and like being more of a normal human, which is a beautiful thing.
Right.
Okay, last two before I ask you legacy question. Legacy's last.
Okay.
What is something Denise is celebrating about? You talked about self-love earlier. That's part of your soundtrack. Right. What's something you're celebrating about Denise now?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think I'm celebrating finding me again after becoming a mother and like wholeheartedly diving into entrepreneurship. I think I'm just celebrating the fact that I'm finding the balance. I'm celebrating every little win. I'm celebrating every single day. I'm not waiting until it's my birthday or an anniversary to say, oh, I'm still alive or I'm doing a good job. I wake up every day like, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm not going to like, I'm not responsible to explain to anybody how it's going to make anybody else feel. I'm just happy being me. Like I literally just told a client on Friday, I said, if I could die and come back as anybody else, I would come back as myself. Like, I don't want to come back as Beyonce. I don't want to come back as Michelle Obama or Sarah Jessica Parker. Like, I want to come back as Denise. And he was like, that's actually kind of dope that you said that. And I was like, I really, outside of being maybe my kid, because my kid hasn't made, I would really come back as myself. Like this isn't a bad life.
Yeah, somebody asked a question to me I was at a camp conference thing, and we're in this classroom session and you're paired up, right? And you're supposed to answer these questions. So I'm paired up with another coach, and they're like, you're supposed to ask, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with your life? And I'm like, I would do what I'm doing right now. I'm actually living the life I would want to live. Even if I did have all that much money, I'd still be doing this. So, and all of these things are like multifaceted, but I can relate. And I think so many times we feel like almost growing up, or at times like, I want to be like this and I want to do like this. And there's some inspiration you can draw from, but sometimes it feels like we're not enough. So I would ask
ourselves.
Yes. Why is
YOLO? Because we don't have a lot of time. It almost seems like you could have every minute of the day with like your family member, your mother, your father. And if they passed away, you would still be sad, right? So I feel like it's super important to just make sure that, like I said, you're grounded, that you're intentional, that you celebrate every win, and sit in your losses even. I was with a client this past week, and he is a pretty big deal. And I was like, what's it like to be famous? Because I was out with him and, people were like pushing me and taking pictures of him, and we had to get like security, and it was like a whole situation. And all we were doing was eating dinner, like having dinner and talking about business. And it was like flashes. And I just can't imagine what it would be like to not be able to be normal, or to get to enjoy the basic things, like going for a walk, smelling the flowers, like walking under the stars at night or whatever, without somebody encroaching on your personal space. So I think it's super important to live in that. And like you said, if you had $1 million, you'd be like, I probably would still be doing the same thing. Same. Same, because I don't want somebody to like take my peace of mind or my privacy away from me. So I think it's important to just be in the present moment, enjoy those that love you, and make the best of it because tomorrow's not promised.
Amen. Snaps. Deaf Poetry Jam. Snaps. 1 minute pitch. You got a 1 minute pitch. I'm a client. We'll say my name is Desmond Sanders. I won't be Dion. Shout out to Dion, who did get Coach of the Year, by the way, in the SWAC.
Sanders?
Yeah, he did. He just did.
Oh, congratulations, Dion. I'll have to shoot him a text.
Who is a friend of yours, we know. Tell Desmond Sanders, who is like not related,
okay,
why he should be a part of or go with. Why should I join the family? Why should anybody who's watching?
What are you? Are you a coach or you're a coach?
We'll just say person. We won't even say what my role is. We'll just say the person.
Okay, Desmond.
Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Desmond, I'm Denise Johnson, founder of Hyphen. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our services. We have real estate, car shipping, and moving. So if you ever find yourself in need of moving assistance, it doesn't matter what facet, whether you need leasing, buying, or selling, we're here to help. We can pack and ship your belongings, unpack everything for you, ship your cars nationwide. We're a one-stop shop concierge service. We are not a luxury. We're not selling purses. We're not selling shoes. We're selling something that you actually need and you will use at some point in your life. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you work for Toyota, whether you work for the NFL, NBA, or whether you work for FedEx. At some point or another, someone will move from an apartment to a house, to an apartment, to a condo, to a penthouse. It doesn't matter. If you are moving in any way, shape, fashion, or form, please call Hyphen at 469-491-9877 or visit our website at wehyphen.com. And if you just want to be nosy and go to my Instagram, it's Denise_Johnson.
Very well done. Very well done. So last 30 seconds to a minute. Why we go to you and no one else?
Like I said, we build a camaraderie, a friendship, a fellowship. We make sure that we know all of the ins and outs of what your needs and wants are. And we deliver every single time. We worked with hundreds of players, dozens of teams across the NBA, NFL, and MLB. You can ask about me. I roll up my sleeves. I get the job done sometimes myself. And I think that this company is my baby. And so I take everything to heart. So I'm going to make sure that whatever your needs are, we take care of it and we provide peace of mind so you don't have to worry about the burden of moving.
Amen. Where do I sign? Desmond's going to sign up himself, his cousin, his mom and them.
Everybody, baby. Everybody. My college coaches.
We're getting everybody.
You call me. Text me. We are the Travelocity of moving. And I'm going to explain why they're saying I'm the Travelocity of moving. It's not that we do real estate, car shipping, and moving. It's that what you would do if you were moving is you would go to Google and you would find most affordable moving companies or most reputable moving companies in my area. You would call Mayflower, you would call Allied, 2 Men in a Truck, United. You would call all of those. Well, I have relationships with all of them. So what you're doing with me is essentially what you would be doing with Travelocity. If you want to go from Colorado to Aruba, you'd go to Travelocity and they're going to send you United, Spirit, Southwest, American. They're going to show you all the prices and all of the different times. I do the exact same thing. My company does that. So we're going to run all the numbers with everybody. And then we also have our own in-home moving companies that will also be able to give you those same services. So I want to do all of the legwork for you so that you can do what you do best.
And you see why, for those that can see and hear the background, it has the stars on it. Everybody knows now why I have said this way before she was doing anything about Hyphen, way before there was a Hyphen, even in concept of a thought. Back when I was my funny story with Denise is that when I first met her, I was working as a junior college assistant at Collin County. We went to the same high school. Denise had just graduated from high school. She was at Collin taking some classes. The coach's office was upstairs. And the first time I saw Denise, I was walking to my office. She's sitting on this little thing. I think we had a random conversation. She's probably similar to me in the fact that like random conversations actually kind of ignite her. And I'm like, yo, who is this chick? Why is she so excited about this conversation? Why is she so
Right.
cool at the same time?
Right.
And then I think it was like a string of days that we just kept seeing each other in similar places. Like I think it was around Halloween. We were at like a
Yeah.
Halloween costume place, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
this is a girl again that I had that conversation with. And so
Yeah.
anyway, long story short, we end up becoming friends. And yeah, I've seen her go through
Literally,
all phases of her life. She's seen me
really though.
go through all phases of mine, unemployment, being on Denise's couch, just hanging out like in between, just because I needed a place to go. I didn't have an office, so it's like I just go to Denise's house. At least I know there'll be good vibes. Probably be some
Right.
dancing going on. I don't know what's going on.
And nothing's changed.
Out of how our worlds have like
Intertwined.
Yeah, I think there was even one point in time. I won't say the school, but if you know my background, it's probably easy to put the two and two together. But I'm working at another JUCO years later, and
Right.
Denise, I did not live in the same city as the airport, so Denise literally picked up a student athlete for me because it was still same peer group. I think he might have stayed at the house if I'm not mistaken.
I think he might have stayed on the couch.
Exactly the same couch I stayed on.
I don't remember the kids more, but yes, I do remember doing that.
Yeah,
wow.
we've had some journeys. So
For sure.
I can speak a lot about the legacy and what it's meant to me and who the impact you've made on me goes way beyond words. So I'm super proud, super excited. What do you want your legacy to be if you had to sum it up in words?
I think if I had to sum up my legacy, I would want people to say she made me better. Like it's pretty cut and dry. Um, Anybody that has any type of relationship with me, and I think even the examples that you just gave, I don't think that I would have remembered that I picked up one of your players from the airport, but or you know, I do remember you being on my couch, but you know, I think again, it goes back to voids. Any void that I might have had in the past, I'm just like, I want to make sure that I pay it forward, that I break generational curses, and that I always bless those that are around me, and that they're inspired by me, feel that they can be better and that they can be anything, and that they're always supported and safe with me. Because that's what I want to feel when I'm around people. And so if I was to die tomorrow, I would want people to say, you know, she made me better. Like she impacted my life. Like I've adopted different, you know, perspectives because of this girl. You know, I moved different because of her. Like I'm motivated because of her. So I would want my kids and anybody that is associated with me or has any kind of connection to me to feel inspired and want to be better.
Yeah, I'm definitely better from you. And I think the cool part is we've always kind of had this, even from that first conversation, this, I don't know, like-mindedness is probably where my daughter gets it from. She's just way cooler, but she's got some of my wife and me. So that makes somebody cool like yourself. But yeah, I think the part for me, like I always felt like I wanted to be more like Denise because Denise never had a bad day. Even though she didn't let it show. And Denise always looked out. She was always ride or die, but she always had fun and she always had confidence. There was never a doubt of like, does she think she can do it? Does she not think she could do it? So almost like part of my, especially during some of those moments, was like being around her. I knew she was going to elevate what I wanted to be and who I hope to be more like. A great person. So anyway, I think you're definitely living that. I'm a living part of this testimony. So glad people get to see the person behind the hyphen because I think that will bring even more people. I think the business, all businesses for the most part are really about the people, not about what you can do, but especially as an entrepreneur, I think that is the part where we didn't want to have it stuffy. I'm glad you came in the hoodie and the hat because that's the girl that I know. That's the girl that is my family. And I'm just glad they get to know the hoodie and the hat, Denise, and not just, you know, the heels and the the halter dress and this dress and this food.
Yeah.
We don't need that. We know that's there, but we need to know this.
There.
Yeah,
that's in the back. That's in the back.
Part of the bag, you know what I mean? Part of the bag.
Yeah.
So, any last words you have? We'll let you take the floor.
I'm
and
like,
then
y'all can go to my Instagram to see my real potential.
Exactly. If you really want to know.
If you really want to see what kind of potential I got, go to Denise_Johnson.
Yeah, that's where you find out. But yeah, any last word? We appreciate you coming. This was amazing.
Yeah, last words. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate anybody that has ever worked with me, supported me, encouraged me to be where I'm at today. If there's anything that I can do to help anybody in any way, shape, form, or fashion, like literally, do not hesitate to hit me up. Like we literally get text messages and phone calls at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and we like respond. And I think that's what sets us apart is that we're family. You can call your family at 3 in the morning and say, "Hey, I'm going to jail." You know, I'm kidding. I've never been to jail. You have to look me up. But I'm just saying, like, you want that one family member that's going to answer the phone no matter what. I'm that family member. We're always going to answer the phone. So I guess that's what I can leave you with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. My last words on this is we got exciting news. So one, this is one of the bucket list interviews for me personally. Hands down, one of my favorite people on the planet. But I think just more people need to know. I used to always say, like, they just need to put you on television. Like, they need to put you on television, give you a show, have people follow you. So we didn't get that, but we're getting the all access. So this is an important interview to me because of who you are. But the cool part that we get to celebrate and people will get to see you more and more and more is that Denise and Hyphen is now a partner with All Access. So we will be promoting
dance for y'all.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. How it's coming out. We will get to advertise and promote and celebrate and connect dots to and just keep it inside in mind. We're going to keep Hyphen inside in mind and we're going to have fun with it. And yeah, I'm just excited to be able to work and partner with my family and just let more people know and be affected and impacted by the great things she's doing. So yeah, that's the idea I had. I was like, you know what, since we're gonna do this thing, people need to know you. So let's get on the track. Let's get in the studio. You know what I mean? Let's make this thing happen.
Get used to seeing this face because I'm gonna be everywhere, baby.
Get used to it. Get used to it. It ain't going nowhere. And it's not a bad face. It's not bad. All right. Well, thank you again. As always, yeah, this was amazing, and we have to do it again at some point, but not now.
Yeah, we do. We'll have new milestones that we'll hit here in the next 6 months that I'd love to share with you guys, and just touch base.
No doubt, and you know where to find www.we-hyphen.com and Denise_Johnson on IG. And until then, we out.